Not that I need that, but again, we'll go back to total payroll and claims, $450,603.71. Payroll is at $302,970.49. Regular claims, $122,911.68. And out of cycle is $24,721.54. Do I hear a motion to approve, and that is pending State Board of Account audits?
I'll make a motion to approve total payroll and claims of $450,603.71 pending State Board of Accounts.
I have a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second? Second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Well, Sheila's out. There's no financial report this morning, so we'll move into new business. Rod, come on up.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here this morning.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Ann.
Yeah, we just wanted to take a few minutes to bring you up to date on the claims year, on the group medical and the upcoming renewal that we've been fortunate to represent you all for over 20 years, and we really, as always, really appreciate that. So if you could just go down, I'll go quickly through the claims. Anytime there's any questions beyond our few minutes that we have with you, obviously we would be happy to sit down and discuss it. So year-to-date premiums, again, this is on the group medical on the first page. The year-to-date premiums paid for that period of time stated is $845,000. The amount of claims paid out is $661,000. $166,000 of that came from two large claims, and I'll tell you in a little bit why that's important. That breakdown of $661,000, 352 were medical claims, prescriptions 309,000. So again, the 352 plus the 309 gets you to the 661. There were two large claimants. Any time there's claims that go over 50,000 during a 12-month period of time, they are considered large claimants for the insurance carrier to watch and to get even more involved with as far as helping them and their family with anything that they need, any navigation, etc. That's one of the things actually IU Health Plans does a really good job of. But there are two different conditions, and obviously cannot share the name of those people. The one's for $73,000, one's for $92,000. The key here is both are active. The reason that's important is the insurance company looking ahead, whether it's for 1 year or 2 years, they have an idea of what kind of expenditures they're going to have based on their knowledge of the two claims. Pharmacy costs are an important part of this. They were up 10%, just over 10% higher than they were last year. Interesting, generics were significantly down. So the cost of generics. I think the significance of this is the Proactive MD clinic, because I think as more and more people become more comfortable with that and they start going to the clinic, one of the advantages of the clinic is they give their generics away at no cost. So that is a good trend. The brand name and the specialty drugs, however, which are the more newer drugs, the more expensive drugs, typically because they're being also advertised on TV, etc., those were up fairly significantly. The brand name were up 9.70, the specialty drugs were up 23%. And again, specialty drugs are those more not more up to date, but just typically for more critically ill types of people with muscular dystrophy, MS, sometimes cancer, etc. And again, no one wants to get sick. This is no judgment on any of the people in Logan County, obviously. So prescription costs were up 43%. They weren't up 43%. Prescriptions made up 43% of the overall claims history. And industry-wide, it's usually 15 to 20%. So one of the things insurance companies don't look favorable at that, knowing that there's that many people taking prescriptions at that type of cost. Tendency is that they have more at risk. Again, I'm not speaking for the insurance company, I'm just trying to give you a little insight on how they look at it. 4 hospital admissions compared to 4 last year, and for a size group of this, 4 admissions is not a bad number. That's a very average number, so appreciative of that, grateful for that. And average length of stay, that's the other thing you look at, in addition to the hospital admissions, was 2 days, compared to last year at 6.25%. So you don't even just look at the admissions, but how long the person stays. And so from a cost standpoint, that's a positive. So where we are at in our responsibility, and we've been telling you this for years, our responsibility is to advocate for our clients, first and foremost. And at any time we don't show advocation to you, even though we've been doing this for over 20 years, fire us, okay? So we represent you going out to the insurance carriers that are in the marketplace. IU Health Plans has been a very good fit for you throughout the last several years. And evidence of that is you've gone 4 years without any rate increase. We have over 250 groups that we're grateful enough to be able to service. There isn't one group that we've had, small, medium, or large, that has been able to hold their rates for a 4-year period of time. And again, I can't necessarily take credit for that. It's you taking our advice and our leadership to put you in IU Health Plans. IU Health Plans was recently acquired by Anthem, if you didn't hear. What does that really mean? What that really means is Anthem is going to be taking financial control of the IU Health Plans. Again, not IU Health, it's not IU Health hospitals or physicians, this is just their benefit plan, their health system benefit plan. So they take over the financial piece of the puzzle. They are allowing any renewals January 1 or before to continue with the IU Health Plans, that network, their service, they're bringing their service people over to keep that consistency for either a 1 or a 2 year period of time. The way you get a 2-year period of time that you've been able to, and a lot of our other groups with IU Health Plans have been able to do, is something called the Healthy Results. Healthy Results is when you get, or you help get the participation up to 50% of all eligible employees take a finger stick. And with that information, you're not shared the information because of confidentiality, we're not shared the information, but they feel that having at least 50% of the participation have a baseline that can track things like A1C, et cetera, can really make a difference. Then they also, if anything has come up in those tests, they can help monitor those tests with one-on-one coaching and consulting. The idea there is if you catch something early by the blood stick, everyone wins. IU Health Plan wins, the county wins because you pay a large part of the employee cost, and the employee wins because it's their life sometimes that's at stake. So with all that being said, IU Health Plans came back initially with a 39% rate increase for a 2-year period of time. We said that's unacceptable, and what is your best rate before us going out into the marketplace? Because if you can give us a rate that is acceptable and we think is fair and they think, and our clients think is fair, then we won't go out to an Anthem and a United Healthcare, which we can easily do in other situations. They came back with a 25% rate increase if you meet the participation of Healthy Results. That 25% is obviously that's a good size increase, all right? However, remember, they held the rate for 4 years, okay? 2, medical inflation by itself is about 10 to 12%. So they know the cost of x-rays, hospital stays, et cetera, is going to be 10 to 12% more this year, 2025 than it was this year. So that's built-in inflation that they already put to the table. The other things that they look at is, again, as I mentioned, the prescription drug cost, okay? That's a concern to them. Also, last thing, try to be respectful of your time, trying to give you information, is they know that 2 active large claims, they have a strong probability that that expenditure, and I think that's $166,000, will be at least that amount, if not more, going forward. So where we are is you have a couple of decisions. One is you can just take a 1-year renewal at 19.9%, call it 20%, okay? That would be for 1 year. Then what we would do next year is we would go out to Anthem and United Healthcare, maybe SiHo. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of carriers that want to be in the state of Indiana. So that's a strategy. Take the 20%, call it, stick with IU health plans for 1 year, and then take our luck next, going forward with the rest of the marketplace. My concern, our professional concern, and not speaking for Anthem, again, we have a lot of Anthem business, we have a lot of UHC business. My concern is when you take the most competitive carrier in some to most situations, like in IU health plans, and you move them into the big guys with the Anthem and the United Healthcare. My concern is what the renewal is going to look like for 2026. Again, I can't speak for them, I don't know, we don't know what the claims are going to be this next year, but I would tell you, I'm encouraging you, as I'm encouraging the other IU health plan renewals that we have coming out on January 1, to do everything they can to try to execute the healthier results to get the 2-year rate guarantee. To lock in, even though it would be 25%, you're locking that in for a 2-year period of time with a benefit that you've had really good luck with, beyond just the no premium increases, just from the accessibility. You have a great corridor with, which is consistent with IU health plans and the network. So we are going to, the first couple times that, and I know it was difficult, with Nicole being out, I believe, and obviously Sheila beyond her control, to get the participation up. So they came and to do the finger sticks, and then you need half the people. We're about 22 short. So we are negotiating with IU health plans to try to get them to come back a 3rd time. And Gary and I have talked about getting the highway department. It's obviously tough to get the highway department to come in when they're out on the road, to come back in. But Gary's been great about trying to come up with an alternative. So I'm hopeful we can get IU health plans to come back another time without any significant cost whatsoever. That's where we're at. We should have an answer, I would say, by the end of the week about the 3rd time, to get the emphasis over at the highway department, to get that number, to give you assurance that if you want to lock in for 2 years, you have the ability to do that.
And Ron, in all of our conversations, and I want to make sure I'm understanding this, it's a 25% increase. It would be 20 for 25, and then a 6% increase for, it's 25 across the board. Okay.
That is incorrect. So it would be 25% there for year 1 and year 2.
Okay.
So you're in essence paying 5% more for that first year.
But it's a 2-year lock.
But it's a 2-year lock, right?
Okay. The reason I'm asking that, and Polly, President of the Council, sitting here, is we budgeted for 20%. We were looking at somewhere between 20 and 24.
Yeah.
Obviously, this happened after budget hearings, out of our control. So I think that we need to stay locked into a 2-year agreement, so we're not gambling with 19% this year and 40% next year. We don't know where we're going to be. We are, one way or the other, get the other 22 people healthy results. If we have to kick in, it's going to save us, okay? So I think that's very important. I know I've talked to Greg, we'll get him out there, you know, between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning.
My guys have always turned out very well.
Yeah.
Everybody that's on insurance, they show up, so I mean,
So what we can do,
they will test.
Yeah, we'll get it set up out there, either in the afternoon, whatever's best for Greg, either before they leave out on the road in the morning or in the afternoon coming back in, but then we can filter in any other county employees that didn't get in the first round to come out there to get our 22 people.
I would prefer morning, but it doesn't matter.
It's entirely up to you,
Gary
Greg.
said something about 7 to 8, 8:30, is that,
Yes.
what would you say, Greg?
Well, the guys clock in at 7, so anytime after 7, and I mean, everybody that has the insurance there understands and they'll participate.
Yeah, we appreciate that, because that's a game.
It's a big number out there, and again, it's impossible to get them in there at the courthouse when they're out on the road.
Right.
Then they have to leave their job, so it's best just to do it all at one time and then get them out on the road, get to work.
I'll be in, well, I'm gonna make a call as soon as we get out of here.
And Ron, we'll make it happen regardless what needs to be done,
I
okay?
appreciate that. And is there a better day, to stay away from Mondays maybe?
I would say Mondays are bad. We'll make anything work.
Especially if the Colts lost. We appreciate it.
And we'll get that out, when you get that scheduled, send me an email and I'll get out to the other departments. I know the sheriff department's the same way, they have a hard time getting people in here, so
Okay.
they can get out there as well.
Yes.
Sam?
Not speaking for the sheriff, but Thursdays is their heavy day.
Okay.
Everybody works on Thursdays, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Ron, if
Tuesday,
you can
Wednesday.
get Maybe morning and an afternoon because their shift changes, like 3. And if they could come out a couple times on a Thursday, I'm not speaking for the sheriff, but that is their heavy day.
Depending on what the cost is for two different,
Yeah.
that'll be the other
Yeah.
part of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks, Sam.
Yes, sir.
And Beth can help us on getting out emails to anyone that didn't get in. We're 22 short, so I'm sure that we can come up with that number.
I think that Friday before holiday was kind of a bad.
It was a tough, yeah, a lot of people
Yeah,
took off.
sure.
Yeah,
We-
I agree.
We appreciate everyone's efforts, and I'm the one up here talking, but Brittany does a fantastic job advocating for your people throughout the year, and always feel free, if someone has an issue on any of the benefits, to call Brittany, and she does a great job, so I appreciate Brittany's efforts. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
All right. Veterans Honor Guard, how you doing this morning, guys?
Pretty good. You come up there.
You can, or you can sit right where you're at, and we can make this real simple. How's that?
That sounds good.
And I'll turn it over to County Attorney.
There's been the discussion to transfer the Veterans Honor Guard Fund over to the VFW, and so I have a resolution to that effect. It would be Resolution 2024-012. It is a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen, State of Indiana, concerning the Veterans Honor Guard Fund. Whereas Owen County, Indiana has collected monies from donations for the benefit of the Military Honor Guard, whereas said donated monies have been deposited in Fund 4003, Veterans Honor Guard of the Owen County Accounting System, whereas said Fund 4003 currently contains $3,731.45 plus or minus based on interest, donations, and claims. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen believe it is in the best interest of the County of Owen and its veterans to close Fund 4003 and to distribute the balance remaining in said Fund 4003 to the veterans of foreign wars post 1405 located in Spencer, Indiana, for the observance of honors for deceased veterans having resided in Owen County, Indiana. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen, Indiana as follows. Section 1, closing and distribution of Fund 4001, Fund 4003, is hereby dissolved, and all funds located therein shall be distributed to the veterans of foreign wars post 1405 located in Spencer, Indiana, for the observance of honors for deceased veterans having resided in Owen County, Indiana. Section 2, effective date. This resolution is effective immediately upon its adoption. Resolved this 16th day of October 2024 by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen.
Thank you, Dana. Any questions, Joe?
Yeah, we have a
It's going to go to the American Legion, Post 285, not the VFW.
Okay,
American Legion, Post 285.
nobody give us that information, I guess.
Not the Veterans of Foreign Wars.
No.
I wondered about that when I heard that, because I was gonna say or the American Legion's been handled it before.
Well, the reason for that, everything's come out of our Legion, or, you know, we store, we have the rifles, we've supplied uniforms for them because they couldn't get the funds here before.
Right.
So we've been doing all this, and we wanted to set up a separate account in the American Legion. We have two separate accounts that we have through the Legion. We wanted to add them to a separate account for them.
Okay,
So it's the American Legion,
give us that one more time. We're gonna make a handwritten typo here so we can move
Post
forward.
285,
Post 280.
285, American Legion Post 285.
it's a half a block down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know where it's at, yeah. So we wanna make sure we get it right here for you.
okay. So therefore, in the last whereas, the Veteran of Foreign Wars, Post 1405, is changed to American Legion, Post 285, and then Section 1, same thing, Veteran of Foreign Wars, Post 1405, is changed to American Legion, Post 285.
I'd make a motion to approve that pen correction by legal counsel Dana Kerr.
Okay. Got a motion by Joel for the correction of resolution. Do I hear a second on that? Second on that. By Bob, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Now ask for a motion to approve the actual resolution 2024-012.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Bob, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Joel, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
We'll get the auditor to take care of this for you and get you your funds. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, Parkview Estates Road adoption. Go ahead, Dana.
All right. It's been discussed several times to adopt the roads that are in Parkview Estates into the Owen County Highway System. So to do so, this is ordinance 2024-020, an ordinance adopting Parkview Drive and Riley Court into the Owen County Highway System. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen desire to maintain its streets and roads under its jurisdiction. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen find that Parkview Drive and Riley Court within the Parkview Estate subdivision as platted, recorded, and duly entered for taxation on September 13, 2001, are in an acceptable condition to bring into the Owen County Highway System pursuant to Owen County Code Section 94.035. Whereas Parkview Drive and Riley Court within the Parkview Estate subdivision are platted as having a 50-foot right-of-way, 25 feet from the center line of said roadway. Parkview Drive commencing at Indiana State Road 43 and terminating at the cul-de-sac, and Riley Court beginning at Parkview Drive and terminating at the cul-de-sac. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen find it is in the best interest of the residents of Parkview Estate subdivision, property owners, and Owen County citizens to have Parkview Drive and Riley Court added to the Owen County Highway System. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen the following. Section 1, Parkview Drive adopted. Parkview Drive is hereby adopted into the highway system of the Owen County, Indiana. Section 2, Riley Court adopted. Riley Court is hereby adopted into the highway system of Owen County, Indiana. Section 3, effective date. This ordinance is in effect as of the time of its adoption. Passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen, State of Indiana, in a regular meeting held on the 16th day of October 2024.
Thank you, Dana. Greg, you got anything you need to add to this or want to add to it? Does that road have a green sign or a blue? We'll have to change the sign, and then we'll have to collect mileage off of that as well to add, so. And we've discussed this before, this has been
I make a we accept 2024-020.
Have a motion by Bob, do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Joel, all in favor? Aye. And again, Beth, we'll need to make sure we get copies of this, so you have one and Dana gets one back. All right, Greg, Highway. Purdue Extension Office isn't here this morning, so that's why we bypassed them.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Start with Commissioners. I need to bring before you, after we had an administrative meeting, we spoke about the community crossing roads request for 2025. Of course, I need to start preparing that grant now. We have a synopsis of what each district wanted. So I'm going to ask for a vote so I can proceed with that grant. Commissioners, District 1, Commissioner Burton placed or request Hollybrook Road. Commissioner District 2, Commissioner Curry requested P Ridge Road. Commissioner District 3, Commissioner Lowe requested a class road. Then a portion of Pleasant View from State Road 246 to Ormond Road, and a portion of Kelly Road from State Road 246 to Denmark. I asked the commissioners to allow me to attempt to get the most amount of money on this grant as possible, so that we may have to go a little over $2 million in order to do that. But we've always figured really close and come in under, so I will keep it as close to that to maximize the grant as possible. So I would ask an alternate road be placed on, if there's extra money, as Anderson.
I thought we was doing Freedom Road too there in my district.
Oh, Bob, you are correct. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to correct you there.
Freedom Road, actually,
Up to the intersection of Pottersville Road.
from the Potters, you're correct, I'm sorry. Freedom Road, from the intersection of State Road 67 to New Hope Road.
Well, we've got that all written down somewhere, I don't know what to do. That cover them all, Greg?
Yes.
Any discussion, gentlemen? I know we've already had a roundtable discussion on it.
That's the only thing I had the correction on.
Okay.
I have that correction, I just needed to know.
With that being said, I ask for a motion for the approval of the 2025 community crossing roads to proceed with the grant.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Joel, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners. Next, y'all know we have a huge problem with the NDOT project on State Road 67 involving Lingle Road. Commissioners, we placed signs, they've been taken down. We placed barricades, they've been taken down. They've been removed. We've done some dust control a little bit on Lingle with water. The reason, maybe with the shower, I have to look after the rain today, but nothing sticks to dust, not even dust control, gentlemen. If you use calcium chloride on dust as thick as it is, it looks like marbles. If you use the emulsion, it looks like little tar balls. So maybe with this rain, we could actually apply one of the products to assist on that road today. The other issue are the bridges. The bridges have lower weights on them. We have talked about putting up closures with concrete barriers on that road. One of the problems that we have is farmer traffic. We cannot hinder them from going in and out, combines the size that they are. We talked about putting concrete barriers at the Gosport end, and not at the other for the farmers. Then if somebody gets in there and not following the rules, how are we going to get them out of there? I think we're in the same situation, or at least the highway department is, we were when we dealt with State Road 43 and the closure there. NDOT is running us out of resources in Owen County. Our citizens pay for that. The highway department takes blame for that, and so does the commission. When NDOT just makes the decisions, this is what we're gonna do. We have an official detour, and it's not Lingle Road. But gentlemen, when you pull up there and punch in your phone, and I have, and you ask for a detour around that situation, Google Maps takes you Lingle Road. So the motoring public are following their Google Maps. We dealt with the same thing on State Road 46, and we're not gonna get that changed. It is what it is. We placed a counter this morning.
Thank you.
After speaking with Commissioner Burton and council, we're gonna leave that on for a full 24 hours, and then commissioners, we've got to come up with a plan, try to keep the heavy traffic off of Lingle Road. We have to preserve the assets that we have in those bridges. And I know the citizens aren't happy with the dust. And again, I just told you there's not a lot I can do with that. Maybe this rain will help me get some dust control on it, but then it comes down to keeping those vehicles off those bridges and any speed issues. Gentlemen, that's an enforcement issue. It's not the highway departments. So we're again, like we were before with the State Road 43 project, in a catch-22 situation. So I'm asking, where do we go from here after we get this road count in regard to road closures on Lingle Road?
What's the anticipated closure on State Road 67?
Well, they said 30 days, gentlemen, but I don't see it happen. I mean, we're 10 days into
Yesterday,
it.
and they're barely moving on that project.
Yeah, so I would be surprised if it's done in 30. I would say it's more like a 90-day job. I'm under the understanding, not from NDOT, but from Force, that they're kind of like the project on 43, that once they got into this, they found other issues. Now, I can't confirm that, but that's what I've been told.
What we talked about yesterday with Greg, Dana and I went out there on both sides of the bridge and sat on the Drunkard's Pike side of it, pulled off the side of the road there where the silos used to be, and just sit and watch traffic, and it was nonstop. I mean, just horrible. And Greg's right, there's still some crops in there at the bottoms on that side that has not been taken out. I think all of them on your side, Pat, in that area are gone, if I'm not mistaken. There's one field there just on the opposite side of the railroad tracks. So we had talked about putting up the concrete barricades to where a car or pickup could zigzag through. And then Greg, we talked about that field still being there, so we can't stop anybody from getting, to their field, obviously. But Greg had come up with a plan. He's got some large iron, I want to say gates, that Charlie Mullins has that we can take out there, paint these things orange, Markham Road closed. They could be moved by pulling them out of the way with a pickup truck to where they could get access in there. Because what's happening now, the barricades that we've got out there, Pat will attest to this, he lives not too far off the first bridge, they're just taking the barricades and throwing them over the weeds. Like they're not abiding by anything. And so it'll be a situation that we get back in a fight with the state over taking care of this road. Not to jump ship here, but we do have a little bit of good news with Little Flock in this similar situation on 43. The state has responded and asked us to get quotes on repairing Little Flock Road. We have got a quote in from one contractor as of now, waiting on another. So there is some progress on that. And I will be contacting Jim Johnson again on this situation, as I have already made some calls there. But I think that we need to go ahead and allow the superintendent to put up these barricades to where cars and trucks can only get through, but yet if a farmer needs to get in there to get his crops out of that particular field, this can be moved.
Gentlemen, there is a little bit of a caveat to that. I probably won't have those until the end of the week. What he had out there was already sold.
Okay, but we have opportunity to get
Yeah,
something.
he's getting them in.
Okay,
Well, I think it's fair to say that this is a no-win situation. We can't keep local commerce from doing their job, farming, logging, agriculture, things of that nature. This is gonna have blowback regardless of which direction we go. So, in the best interest of saving our assets, then I'm gonna have to say that we're gonna have to take those kind of measures. But again, at any point, if farmers need access, we'll have to do whatever it takes to get them where they need to go. If that involves a highway department direction to do so. But the roads are just being beat to death, just absolutely beat to death, and nobody has any concerns whatsoever.
the biggest concern there too, Joel, is we've got 2 9-ton bridges on that road that are 100 to 200 yards apart. And I sit there, and Dana will attest to it, we watched a 80,000-pound truck come out the other end on the highway. And I told a guy that called me and complained about it, I said, the first person that falls through one of them bridges is gonna own it. That simple. I think that we need to camera those bridges as we've talked. I don't know what the progress is on that, because it's gonna happen. And Pat and I have had several communications. Pat Connor lives right there off the railroad bridge on Lingle. And he's right, you know, it went from 4 or 5 cars a day to 1,000 a day. It's literally turned into a highway, or more, yeah, you're right. It was nonstop when we were out there for, what, Dana, 20 minutes? Yeah. So the bridges are the bigger, more concerned because of the expense. You know, we can do some patching on the roads, but replacing 2 bridges that the state's kind of throwing our lap here is a big problem.
Last Thursday, gentlemen, I spent approximately an hour out there in an hour's length of time last Thursday at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we could put this in writing. There was 211 cars. And
Doesn't surprise me.
when I say cars, some of them were overweight trucks, which I did stop. But it doesn't do a lot of good.
Yeah, we've got to get law enforcement out there to help us on this, because we do have a marked road closed, no truck traffic, and they totally ignore it. So,
One thing, Gary, or gentlemen, you know, there's no signage. And it's the state that has failed to do that. You know, their official detour is, if you're coming from Indianapolis, then you take 39 through Martinsville, 69 to Bloomington, 46 to 231, and back down to 231. That's a 30-mile detour. Number one, they don't have any signage down there saying 67 detour.
right.
There's nothing that says no trucks allowed. You know, the signs that you did put out are gone. So the semis, and I don't blame anybody for taking the road. It's the shortest route, number one. People that live in Gosport aren't gonna go the official detour route anyway. So the problem is, like you said, Coleross Road. There's nothing there that says 67 detour straight up the road.
And that's a detour that we signed in a meeting here 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
And nobody's using it.
And nobody's using it, and the reason, and as you know, Pat, The state has barricaded that twice, one there at Drunkard's Pike, and then on up, before you get to Cole Ross Road, it's barricaded again. So you can't even get to Cole Ross Road to use the detour.
You
I
can't.
got semis using junkers, using school house road to go to junkers.
Oh, yeah, they're doing any way they can.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Traffic way out where I'm at, went from 12 a day to.
And you're a long way from that bridge.
A long way.
Yep.
You can get through to Cole Ross, that opening is big enough, I use it, I don't go.
But the public doesn't know that,
The
that,
public doesn't know that,
Right.
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, I agree with you. And Greg's got that marked, because we checked yesterday on the other end of Cole Ross coming onto Jones, it shows no truck traffic. And somebody stole it on the other end, of course, but, it's not like we haven't made the effort, but the state's done nothing to help us because problems.
And the public doesn't care. They're gonna go the closest, fastest way they can.
Absolutely.
get around.
Then I would say we need to take the measures necessary to control that and possibly get traffic on Cole Ross. Again,
You want to make a motion to approve the highway superintendent to barricade drunkards and lingual as necessary?
I will make that motion.
I know you were kind of going that way there a minute
Well,
ago, so I just,
it's ridiculous. The blowback's terrible on this. I mean, our own people think we're doing this to them, and we're not doing it.
I had a lady ask me why we were punishing her.
Well,
That was her words with the road closure, and I assured her that that wasn't anyone's intention, but,
I think the important thing to note here, Greg, is that the residents of Owen County viewing or non, or will read this in the minutes, is to understand the state of Indiana has done this. Indiana Department of Transportation has done this. They've done it on several occasions. Clay County is going through a very similar situation right now.
NDOT will tell the public that they are letting everyone know when these are happening. We usually know when they happen. I've told this board that we've had meetings with NDOT representatives. We used to have very good communication with NDOT, and we were notified. And now, I don't have a problem saying this, when we speak with someone from NDOT, you usually get a project engineer that speaks down to you all like you're stupid. They'll tell you they'll fix the problem, and the problems don't get fixed on our end. And just to throw a little gas on the fire, gentlemen, on my way in this morning, there's a sign on 67 that says there's going to be a closure between Spencer. I don't have any notification on that. I don't know what they're closing on State Road 67 between Freedom and Spencer. But there's one in Freedom, and I looked just before I came in here, there's one at Wendy's. I don't know when it went up, but I have no notification that they're closing the roadway, other than a little bitty sign. And Pat's right. I took a drive to the 39 and 67 intersection. They have a sign about the size of a speed limit sign that says road closed. And then drive that roadway and you come to these other bridges that they're working on that has stoplights on them. So I think when the motorists get that far, they just don't even consider it being closed.
yeah. And again, I'm not sure why they didn't signal that bridge. I've been told some silly stuff, that there's bats mating underneath that bridge. I've been told all kinds of different stuff. And of course, if you got environmentalists, DNR, all kinds of issues when those type of things happen, I don't know what that has to do with stopping one lane of bridge, but that's what we've been told.
Well, the DNR, and that's what they told me, was an environmental issue with Indiana Banks. But before they closed the road, and before they made the decision not to make it a one-lane closure, they had heavy equipment working under that bridge for 5 weeks. State did it. And that was way prior to them closing. So if the bats were an issue, they weren't an issue that time.
Right. And I agree with you, Pat. And you know, I've heard, well, the mating season was over into September.
Yeah.
Says who?
Well, gentlemen, the one thing we need to do in regard to the closure is wait till we get, we've got a 24-hour count on the road. I would,
And we suggested that yesterday, fellow commissioners, so we could come back and Dana's point to the state and go, look, here's the pounding that this road's took in a 24-hour period. And this is only one day out of 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is. We've got some kind of recourse. So anyway, Joel, if you want.
quite frankly, the bridges are probably gonna need to be re-inspected because of the pounding they're taking. You know, that's gonna be an extra cost.
Yep. And we're gonna lay that off on the state as best we can. And Mark, you being here, you know that we'll have to take a good look at both of those.
I don't know if it'd be worth putting a sign, having a sign made that says local detour use Colross Road, and then another one that says no trucks, and put it there at Drunkard Pike so that with an arrow pointing to tell them to go through those barricades.
If you can get Stella to put something together or whatever means you have, we talked about that yesterday. At least it would get
It'll
them
just
on.
end up in somebody's garage.
You're probably right.
Well, you really can't run, you know, semis or anything up Colross Road, because, you know, at the top of Colross Road, that's a one-lane road.
Oh, there are 90-degree curves there, you can't get a semi around.
That's correct.
Yeah,
So,
but that's the detour that they suggested, yeah.
well, but, you know, for the trucks need to know when they come to the point of 67 and 231, that from the west and also at Martinsville, that the truck route is what is designated by the state. But there's nothing that does that. There's nothing that says no trucks allowed through here, other than what the county has done.
Right,
And that's, you know, that has been, you know, useless.
especially when they take the signs.
Yeah, yeah. And one other thing, I will find out today who's farming those other fields. And if they're coming from the Paragon side of that, then you can do whatever you need, because they've got all the fields out in the bottom, you know, along me.
The only one we noticed yesterday was the cornfield, like I said, right across the railroad tracks off of 67 on Drunkard's Pike. As soon as there's corn in that field there on the right.
That's my field.
Okay. So whoever farms that for you, that's
Steve Thomas.
Okay.
He lives right there on me.
That's the only place that we could see that there were still crops in the field. So we don't want to deter a grain truck from getting in there. But again, Pat, if we know when they're gonna harvest that, call the highway, they'll come out and move the barricade and we can stop this.
Okay.
If you're willing to do that and work with Greg, let's, in that
Pat, no,
motion,
we're
let's
doing
go
other
ahead and
issues
put that
together.
up immediately.
I made the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Did we
Do
approve
I
it?
hear a second on Joel's motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners. Update, we finished laying cold mix on Ellis Lake. The paver has been moved to Ormond Road, or is being moved to Ormond Road as we speak. If it's not already arrived, we'll start laying cold mix on Ormond tomorrow. I estimate we've got about 4,500 tons of cold mix left, which should leave a little overreach when Ormond is done. But I mean, again, that's an estimate. It's an app on my phone where you walk around the pile and estimate how tall the pile is, so.
And you've got two other roads for options if you have enough. Both of those are like 0.6 miles or something like
That is
that.
correct.
So we'll just stretch that and when we're out.
Okay. I have nothing else, Commissioner.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate all the work the highway.
Thank you, Greg.
And anything you need for us to help you with this Drunkard's Pike, Lingle Road, obviously let us know.
I just think that the citizens need to know that we're trying and we're doing our best. We're trying to preserve what the taxpayers have already paid for in the county. And we'll do our best to try to get them into the state detour. I'll try to figure something out there, but you know, they've not helped that situation either with the way the roads are blocked. So I appreciate any assistance that can be given.
Pat?
Greg, I think everyone recognizes that it's not the county that's the problem here. And you know, we all know that it is what it is, you're not gonna stop at this point, other than doing what you're proposing. But I think all we really wanna know for sure is have an assurance that that road's gonna get fixed when this is all done.
I'd like to tell you that'd be 100% positive, but I can't because it's a state. We've got the same deal out on Linville Road. What is that road, Greg? 4 mile, 5 mile across there from end to end, I'm guessing.
Little Flock, yeah.
Yeah, Little Flock, I'm sorry. They literally destroyed that road, and we're trying to get the state to take care of that. They said they would. They have made some movement on that. We're making a little bit of progress, but again, it's a fight. And unfortunately, it's gonna end up coming back on the taxpayers here of Owen County to put that road back together. I don't see it any other way. We'll fight it, obviously, we've got counters out there, we're doing everything we can.
All I'm saying is, you know, there are certain areas of that road that are getting so beat up, even Lingle, the paved part.
It's beat to death, yeah.
It's got, I counted them this morning, there are 9 potholes that have come through that since it started.
Yep.
I'm not saying pave Lingle Road all the way down, you know, to Drummers Pike, you can't do that. But it may need to be repaved back down to that old bridge at some point, because you know, you can patch it, but you know how long patches last sometimes. So I think we just need assurance that what we already had is gonna get back to what we had.
We're gonna go to bat for you, Pat, for sure. Again, I'm gonna ask you to communicate with Greg, because we're gonna put steel barricades out there to where cars and trucks can get around it, but semis can't, to stop that. But when you get ready to harvest your crops, you make sure you contact Greg, and they'll come out and move that out of the way so you can get through there, okay? But these aren't gonna be barricades that they can throw over in the weeds. These new barricades we're putting out there, they won't be able to throw them over in the weeds.
Okay,
They can't be moved without a truck, a backhoe, something to that effect.
all right.
Okay, elected officials and department heads. Public comment. Hey, Chris, don't have you on the agenda this morning, but since we have public comment, we'll go ahead and listen to you.
I appreciate that. So I had been emailing and sent some phone messages, and I hadn't got a response, so I know you're busy and I'm busy, and I get it, but I need to at least see and know if there's a next step for supporting transportation, public transportation in Owen County through rural transit for 2025. You guys have been wonderful for pulling through what you did for 2024, and I know that came out of ARPA funds. I've been dealing with the same situation in Monroe County, and you know, they will use some rollover funds to help with that, but they also have some economic development funds that they use to help with that. But I did bring some budget information updated.
I just read an article that said that Monroe County was gonna have to get rid of a section of rural transit. Is that correct? Can you clarify
So, I
that?
can tell you, I mean, I spent more time than you want to talk about.
Well, because I thought we had made a commitment last year to.
We did, yes.
Yeah, you did, and that's, so our service for you guys is all funded, just like in Monroe County, non-urban is funded through our 5311 pass-through funding through the Monroe County Commissioners, which is for rural transportation. So the big hullabaloo in Monroe County that I've been living through hell for the last year and a half is really about the urban-to-urban trips. So if you look at a map of Monroe County, and there's a designated Bloomington urban area, which is not the city of Bloomington. It actually goes out to Ellettsville and even has some of Steinsville, which is really not super urban. And anybody within that blue zone last February, NDOT came to me and said, that's technically urban to urban. If you're providing it within, both points are, like if you go from Ellettsville to Bloomington and back, that's an urban to urban trip, and you can't do that with your 5311 grant funds. Bloomington Transit receives the federal pass-through funds for the urban area and has for decades. And they're supposed to, if they're going to, utilize those grant funds to provide that service. So we were supposed to stop providing that service, and we knew that in February for December 31st, 2023. I don't even want to go into the number of meetings and conversations that we had and hoping, and NDOT actually did hope to have, like Indigo and Indy did when they instituted this, had it where they just subcontracted with the current providers like we do, and then it just, was seamless for riders. Well, Bloomington Transit decided they didn't want to do that, and so we were without potential transportation. And because Monroe County was able to purchase with some of their ARPA funds some vehicles for us that were local and not through the federal funds, that normally transit vehicles are 80% matched for that, I said we could come up with an alternative to provide that ongoing as a parallel service, at least for now, to keep people, served, because the biggest concern was people weren't going to have services. They ended up doing that, but it was a massive, it's a full cost, so there's no grant funds to support that. It's not a long-term solution. That doesn't affect your folks in Owen County, but it is a massive undertaking, and we are right now, for that portion of the services that we do in Monroe County, I believe that Monroe County Commissioners and Council have found and will allocate the funds for 2025. That is not a long-term solution, and frankly, I don't want to be doing that long-term. It's not good. It also means that the grant funds that are proportionally received for Monroe County urban area by Bloomington Transit really should be applied to that service. And hopefully we can make that fight continue into 2025 to get them to do that. But that's a separate thing and headache that I'm dealing with, just to make sure that the folks that are in that area continue to get it, because it's heartbreaking. You know the folks that rely on transit here, they rely on it there as well, and they need it for, not fun
I
stuff.
feel we're probably heavier relying on it in our county because of our aging population.
Yeah.
We've got
Work,
a ton of people here
medical,
that depend on
yeah.
doctor's office calls,
Yeah.
medical, whatever, pharmacy, whatever it
Pharmacy,
is.
medical.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that depend on this transportation. And
That's right.
the numbers that you give us last year of the runs were
Yeah.
amazing.
9,200 trips from last year, just so you know, and the average trip is 13 miles one way in Owen County, which is,
And we
far
can't
greater
ignore
than-
that.
No, that's something we're gonna have to figure out how to support in some form or fashion.
On the commissioner level, our hands are tied with funding on
Sure.
what we can do. Before Sheila got sick here in the last few days, I talked to her last Friday, I think it was, to go through the ARPA funds one more time to see what was left. We've made a large commitment to the radio tower project, but she seemed to think that there was going to be some additional funds left once we got everything expended out. Her and I were gonna sit down and go through those numbers to see. I think last year we ended up doing 10 or 18,000.
18,000, which is, I have it noted in there.
And if we do 5 or we do 10, it's better than nothing at all, and I'm not gonna guarantee you any numbers here today, but we're gonna look and see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have my contact
I
information.
have you, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah. And I haven't been ignoring you.
I know, but I'm going through, getting ready, in fact, that's what I've been trying to do. We're going through our 4-year NDOT compliance review, and so I'm doing all of the decks, 73-page questionnaire right now, and all of the documents and all of the stuff that's involved in that. And one of the areas is asking specifically the local commitments that we have, even though we put estimations into our grant application, this is one of the things that is in there. So I need to kind of nail that down. So I appreciate it.
As soon as I can get somebody to help me, I don't know how long Sheila's gonna be out. I don't know
Okay.
if there's anybody that maybe Dee can go
and-
through those.
yeah.
I'll get with somebody and we'll see where
Right.
we're at, and then we'll
Converse
yeah,
and-
we'll
Okay,
converse.
really appreciate it.
We'll do what we
You know
can.
where to find me. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Greg?
Commissioners, I have one more thing, it's just an update on Bridge 14. I had to talk to the contractor and our consulting firm just a moment. We do have the height restriction now. The height restriction on that bridge will be 9'6". I will get the signage ordered for that, and the head rack will be installed in that bridge. CLR has it now. That's top priority for us and for them, so I'll get the 9'6" signage ordered, and we'll be able to get that bridge back open as quick as the signage comes in.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Good
Thank you,
deal.
Gary.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you. All right, Dan. Comments?
Nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have something?
I'm here looking for an update pertaining to Nancy's Broken Arrow. I know there's been all kinds of conversation, but still I haven't heard it resolved nor comment upon it. So that's what I'm here for.
It's a legal issue at this point, so that's not, I'll refer you to the council.
There is not a statute or a local ordinance to use for that purpose. So the only thing I could recommend, like, sit that out with the commissioners, is that we create a new ordinance that addresses safety issues like this, and then we could use that. We'd have to adopt a new law to be able to do it, because there's nothing existing that we can use. Against them. So I've done an exhaustive research of state laws and our local ordinances, and there's nothing to address this specific type of issue. So we would need a new ordinance to do something, to be able to enforce.
Well, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a motion that we build an ordinance directly related to the safety pertaining to this type of situation within the county. I make a motion, we build that ordinance and adopt that ordinance. Well, I can't make we adopt that, we build it, review it, and bring it in front of the commissioners.
And I'll second that, Joel. I just want to make a comment from what I understand in the email that you sent out. That's discussing projectiles leaving property and endangering people's lives. Is that suffice? Okay.
Now, see, we can build this, my understanding is, Dana, we build this, we adopt it, we have teeth in this now.
Right, and it has to be broad enough that we're not targeting a specific person, but it.
Well, I think it's a well-needed, well-suited.
Oh, absolutely.
It needs to be broad, because in a growing county, there's going to be more issues. And our
Absolutely.
county's going to be a growing county very soon.
And I'm going to point to Sam back here. We had this same issue with the gun range out here off of 43. And if we'd have had an ordinance discussing projectiles, whether it be arrows, bullets, whatever, we could have shut that thing down instead of dragging it out for 2 years or whatever it was.
Well, there's one thing you have to remember going back to that, on that, we shut down the rifle range, you know, because it was out of character, out of sorts. And I'm not an attorney, but by no means, if we filed against them, they shut their rifle range down because they had no choice until whatever ramification came up. They never got to open that back up again because of the safety issue. It's no different than what you have here. You had to do something, and you just went back a few meetings ago to file an injunction. It wasn't because you want to shut the business down. It's you want to make the business safe for the neighbors and grandkids and stuff like that. And Dana has the authority to get that done. It's not because you want to shut the business down. You do want nobody getting hurt.
That's
In fact, I was leaving that, so that is something, when me and the detective, Chris Fears from State Police went out to the firing range, we told them that. Here's the deal. And they shut it down immediately because they had no choice. I'm not saying Nancy Broken Arrow, I mean, take the business away from by no means, but when his kids and grandkids and neighbors and stuff like that are being affected, that they cannot operate on their own property because of safety violations, Dana has the authority to stop that. And it needs to be stopped. I'm not trying to shut the business down, but if you need to adopt an ordinance or something like that, rewrite, that needs to be done immediately.
Yes, absolutely, I concur.
Immediately.
And just to explain the injunction, why that wouldn't have worked before is because there was, I was told that that the change in the ownership resulted in them not being grandfathered in anymore for what they were doing, and that's not the case. Our ordinance actually says that change of ownership doesn't matter. It's only if it's been closed for 6 months or more.
They close every winter for 6 months or
So,
more.
well, but that's, yeah, but
That
that's.
business operation
Yeah.
closing, there's a difference there.
So,
yeah.
But I can have an ordinance ready for.
We've got a motion on the floor here, and I've seconded it, so let's go ahead and move forward. I ask for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
I'll have that ready next meeting.
There you go.
Very good, thank you.
Then that way, once you get that drafted up, then that can be enforced
Yep.
Immediately.
immediately. Once it's adopted and done, it's enforced.
Yes, sir.
immediately.
All right, any other comments, Dan?
None.
Beth, I'd ask about you, but
Just bear with us and help us out as much as you can as far as claims and all that.
commissioner comments?
I have none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Hey, Greg?
Bridge 14, folks.
Yeah.